Does strength training make you a faster cyclist? Yeah, yes it does, a lot. Hi, my name is Scott Pearson. I make cyclists faster, injury-free and more economical in the saddle by providing online, easy to follow strength training programs that can work around your schedule. So obviously I'm here, I'm a strength trainer. Obviously I'm going to advocate strength training for cycling, that's my job. But I guess the most important question is really not whether it makes you faster, because it does, is how it makes you faster, in what ways, and what you should be concentrating on while you're training off the bike. So perhaps you've got a niggling injury, you're thinking you should be doing something, or you just want to get that extra little bit of a boost and you want to go faster and you're thinking about doing some strength training. You're not quite sure what to do, how to do it, why or how it's going to make you better. So this is what this video is all about. Strength training is great for cyclists for three main reasons. The first, probably the most important one, is injury prevention, trying to stop you getting injured. If we think about the type of injuries that cyclists tend to get, so we're looking at lower back pain, anterior knee pain, so pain on the front of your knee, hamstring tightness, foot numbness, hand numbness, those kinds of things, alongside shoulder injuries, which are probably the third most common injury. Most of those are what we call chronic injuries. They take time to come on. There's no single event that you can point to that said, oh, my injury happened there. So that's typically because the pedaling action for cycling is imbalanced. Most of the power in the pedal stroke comes from your quadriceps, about 60 to 80% depending on your technique. So over time, the front of your legs get a lot stronger, the back of your legs get a lot weaker, relatively speaking. So all the strain comes on the front side of your body, so that's why you get knee pain. The position of a rider, all right, with that bent over position, it's not great for your back. It's a flex position and we're pedaling, so we're rotating. That is number one, how to injure your back. So cycling itself can lead to these chronic injuries. If you're strong, if you are stronger, you are more resilient to injuries, all right, generally, all right. So if I can squat my body weight, the chances are I've built up to that gradually. I've developed the stability through my knees, my lower back to be able to support that weight. I've developed the mobility through my ankles, hips, upper back and shoulders to try and get under the bar effectively. All those things are what are required to prevent the injury, all right? Additional to that, if I've worked effectively, I've evened up those imbalances. So I've got my hamstrings and glutes a lot stronger. I've got my abdominals a lot stronger to be able to support myself on the bike. The second reason is probably the one that most people think of when they think about strength training, to boost your performance. So if I can generate more force, I can generate more torque into the pedals, and therefore I can generate more power through the pedal stroke and go faster. All right, so if I want to sprint, if I want to go up hills, I need to be able to generate more force. So strength training is where it's at. Now what's interesting is that has been shown to be the case even after long durations of riding. So up to 3 hours of cycling, people who strength train can sprint faster even after all that cycling. The third reason is something that's often overlooked, and that's economy of your pedal stroke. So pedaling, the pedaling action, or any kind of endurance activity by its nature is sub-maximal. Okay, I can do it hundreds of times in a row without stopping, and it's fueled by my aerobic system, all right? So therefore, by its nature, it's sub-maximal, all right? Maximal being something I can only do once. It's a massive effort, all right? So if the pedaling stroke itself is, let's, for the sake of argument, takes me 10 kilos worth of pushing force, and I can squat 50 kilos, that's 20% of my total pushing force that I have to expend on every single pedal stroke. If you start a strength training program and increase that squat from 50 kilos to 100 kilos, which is not out of the question by any means, then the same pedal stroke goes from being 20% of my total available kind of output to only 10%. So relatively, I'm expending a lot less effort on every single pedal stroke for the duration of my ride. So if that's the case and I can prevent injuries, I can get faster, I can develop more economy, is the way I can do it on the bike? Do I have to get off the bike and get in the gym? I'm a cyclist. I don't want to be doing all that kind of stuff. I want to keep on the bike as much as I can. The problem is, as we discussed a second ago, cycling itself is inherently imbalanced. And what happens by doing things like over-geared efforts, hill efforts, that kind of thing to try and increase the torque is it doesn't develop enough force to make it a strength-based exercise. Again, even if I do high gear efforts or hill type efforts, I still might be doing 100, 200, 300 revolutions, all right? So I'm not using enough of my muscle generating, force generating capacity to make it a strength exercise. The second reason is the pedaling action, as we just said a second ago, is inherently imbalanced. So I'm still overusing my quads, I'm still underusing my hamstrings and glutes. So what happens in those circumstances is I just make the problem worse rather than trying to alleviate those problems. So I guess the next question is, if I want to go into the gym, what should I be doing? Do things that can get you the strongest in the least amount of time. All right, nice and simple. So they tend to be what we call compound movements, multi-joint, big movements where you can lift relatively big weights over large distances using lots of different muscles. So they are squats, deadlifts, pressing, upper body pulling, those types of movements. They're the four kind of main movements that will give you the biggest bang for your buck. If you see anybody talking about specific work and you're doing things like putting your feet the same length apart as your crank, or avoiding driving your knees out, so you're kind of mimicking a more aerobic position, or doing things, bent over in a riding position, don't listen to it. Get rid of it completely immediately. That is going to make you worse, not better. You'll be wasting your time. Why is that the case? All right, it sounds intuitive. If you're going to do something to get better at cycling, you need to do something that looks like cycling. Okay, that's not the case, because strength is what we call a generally acquired physical characteristic, and it's generally utilized. So we can develop strength on a global kind of basis, and we can utilize that strength in the saddle. All right, so the big movements are the most effective ones at getting you stronger generally. Obviously it needs to be relative, so there's no point in doing loads of bicep curls and thinking your legs are going to be stronger. So we need to use your legs. So squats are better. Okay. So that's it. That's the reason. So if you're interested in finding out more, I'll be posting regular videos. Let me know in the comments below what you think, and I'll speak to you all soon.